Yeah, sorry it's been so hectic, man. I didn't even know the parameters of this meeting or
when
we were leaving until yesterday.
So everything's been coordinated through ESPN?
Mostly through ESPN. So now I'm trying to determine, because this is our first show working with ESPN, because the special that we're doing today is just for ESPN. So yeah, it's both ESPN and WWE working hand in hand to kind of work on this new format.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it because you all cap like.
Welcome back to the Stuck in My Thoughts podcast. It's a place you want to be to hear a one-of-a-kind POV. And if you watched our last episode, you know I got my voice back. As always, I'm your host, Justin Stuckey. And today's point of view comes from somebody who takes this next episode bigger and better. My guy, Big E.
A pleasure, man. A pleasure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you taking the time. Got a chance to connect and meet for the first time in New York back this summer.
Yep.
Fanatics Fest. How you been since then?
Good, man. Busy. Planning a wedding, working on some writing stuff as well. But no, it's a blessing, man. I've been really fortunate to have my hands in so many different things. And I'm here in Indy right now for WWE. But the nice part is, like, this stage of life, I feel like I'm so led by my passions and the projects that I really want to pursue. So doing all those things and having my hands in so many different pots has kept me busy, but I'm blessed to be busy.
You always hear the term more than an athlete. And for majority of especially the WWE fan base, we look at you as athletes. You know, you guys are in there putting your bodies on the line week in and week out. For the ones who don't consider you guys athletes, number one, you guys need to wake up. But you talk about the passions and the things you have outside of the ring. And I was going to bring this up anyway, but let's talk about that ring specifically. Can you give us that proposal story? That's one of the most nerve-wracking things for a guy when they try to get that knee dirty.
Yeah. So for me, my fiance now, Kristen, she always kind of makes fun of me because I never officially asked her to be my girlfriend. Which in my late 30s, I'm like, is that a thing that people do? We went together. It's just like, all right, we go together now. So I knew I had to make the proposal. I had to do it the right way. I had to make sure it was done properly. So I actually reached out we have a friend who owns this company, and they do these really incredible curated dinners. They've done stuff in the Bay Area with the Warriors players, with a bunch of local businesses, but they do really, really incredible work. And the chef, Byron, I sat down with him. The company's called Last Supper Society. Gotta shout them out, and talked with Byron and just went through the story of our relationship. So the premise was, there were these 5 different cities that we've been to together, Kristen and I, that we traveled to, that were meaningful to us, and we kind of based this whole private dinner experience around that. So she was coming in from snowboarding, and I met her at this gallery. We were looking around this art gallery downstairs, and eventually we get to a point where I lead her through, and they become pictures of us. And then there's a letter that I wrote to her, framed on the wall. As she's reading it, I get down behind her on a knee, and I propose. Meanwhile, we have a photographer who was pretending to look at the rest of the gallery. He ends up taking pictures. We had a camera set up in the back, getting video of it all. And then I took her upstairs. The stairs were lit by candles. There were flowers. We go up on this beautiful rooftop, and it's just her and I. There's framed pictures of us all around. There's a fountain. There's a garden. So we ended up taking some more pictures up there. And then Byron did such an incredible job because I told him certain things like we first really hit it off at the JW Marriott in Los Angeles. And that was when we were just kind of friends. She went back to the room, told her best friend that she thinks she has a crush. And we started dating. About a year or so later, we come back to that same point. I brought her out to the NAACP Image Awards because I actually had a short film that was nominated for an award. And thank you very much. A short film about the life of Ruby Bridges. And so yeah, we ended up meeting at that very same spot a little over a year later. And it was like, oh, it was so fitting to have the after party for the NAACP Image Awards at the very same location. So we ended up taking just a picture of us kissing there. So I told that to Byron, and he makes this dish around a hug, because the hug in LA was the first time we really sparked things there. And for him, he always thinks of a hug as his grandmother's chicken noodle soup. So he made this variation on a chicken noodle soup using wontons. But anyways, he just built this whole narrative. He brought out the dish and would explain the meaning around it. So fine dining is something that we both really love. We love our dining experiences together. So having something centered around our love for food. And I just love the way that food brings people together in the community as well. So we just had our whole love story over about 9 different courses. So it was really beautiful, and she really appreciated it.
I love to hear that, man. It's cool how it all comes full circle. And so we want to talk about the circle. Let's get back to the squared circle side of things here.
I love the segue.
I appreciate it. One thing I've noticed in my preparation for this, when you first started with the WWE, you went from making $500 a week, living with your parents, to becoming one of the most recognizable faces and wrestlers in the business, being part of one of the legendary tag teams of all time before they kicked you out.
Yes.
But just looking back on that time, how would you just describe your journey just throughout your time?
Yeah, man, it's just talking about the journey in general, for me, the lesson has been life will take you in so many different directions that you never anticipate. For me, my whole goal was to play college football. Finally got that chance to play at Iowa, and I just had a ton of injuries there, major ones. I tore both my ACLs, broke my right patella, tore my left pec, ended up taking medical hardship, and essentially your time is done. We're going to honor your scholarship, but your time on the team is done. And I spent, some really hard years struggling with my mental health, really struggling with depression. Ended up in a psych ward, went through ECTs. Like I went through a very difficult time trying to figure out kind of what's next in life. Who am I? Where am I going? And then this opportunity with WWE kind of came out of nowhere. But yeah, you alluded to the fact that, when I first started in FCW under a WWE contract, people think because you're signed, it's all glitz and glamour. But I tell people too, if you want to get into entertainment, any facet of it, any pursuit in general, if your reason is money, it's not going to last, man. You're going to burn out. If that's your sole motivator is money, because like I said, I came in to WWE barely just being able to pay my bills, under contract, but $500 a week is not going to take you very far, even in 2009. So yeah, man, for me, it was knowing where I wanted to go. That was always the focus, is I was always good at being able to, to be able to hold off on gratification, knowing where I wanted to go. So, okay, I don't have very much right now, but I know if I hustle, if I show up early, if I stay late, if I work hard, if I do what I need to do, in 3 years, in 5 years, I'll be where I want to be. So delaying that gratification is so huge for me, because it's like, okay, I have to deal with less now because I know where I want to go. I have to make sacrifices now because I know what the end goal is. So that was it for me, is just, understanding that the riches weren't coming right out the gate, that I had to get there. And I knew that this was something that I loved, something I was passionate about, something I truly enjoyed. So yeah, I spent about 3.5 years in FCW and developmental, working on my craft, trying to get better. And there are stories of people like Kurt Angle who just pick it up like that. I wasn't one of those guys. It took me a while to get it, to be smooth in the ring. That took time and years, even on the main roster. Like, I look back and I cringe looking at some of those promos I would cut, looking at some of my matches, because so much of the job is learning on the fly and getting better on the fly. So many of us struggle with imposter syndrome, and I'm definitely one of those people too. And I'm getting better at it now, but the early part of my career, never feeling like I was good enough, never feeling like I was ready, but you kind of fake it till you make it. You learn on the fly, you get better as you go along. Because I think so many of us expect that we'll make that leap when we're ready, when we have everything lined up, when we have all the knowledge, when we have all the experience, all the connections, then I'll make the leap. But sometimes you just have to, if that door opens, you just got to run with it. Sometimes you're not really ready. You become ready on the job. You learn on the job, and it takes taking your lumps. It takes taking losses. It takes the setbacks, but eventually you get better. You learn from your mistakes, and you get there. And that's been what life has taught me. Is there's never any point where I really felt like I was fully ready, or I was fully knowledgeable, or I had all the skills. I just had to keep putting myself out there and growing and growing.
Love that, man. I love the perspective that you're sharing there for sure. It's cool to actually sit down with you from times of just seeing you on TV, and I want to bring up some of the moments where I have seen you on TV. Number one, like I said, this is the place to be to hear one-of-a-kind POV. You're the only one, besides the other two, who have the point of view of hosting that WrestleMania. What was your point of view when the Hardy Boyz returned?
That was such an incredible experience for us. You know, a lot of people during that WrestleMania were like, are you guys bummed that you didn't get a chance to actually wrestle in WrestleMania? And for us, like, it was always about showing how vast we could be, showing that we could wrestle, we could cut promos, we could host, we could do media, we could do all these things. And it was really an honor. And I think that's what made that WrestleMania so special. Not just hosting, getting to do stuff with Final Fantasy. We had a partnership with Final Fantasy that year, got to come out in cosplay gear and work directly with them, and that was a dream. But for me, what really made that WrestleMania was that moment. You know, so many times in our industry, things get spoiled, things get leaked, but that was one of the things that people never really got out there beforehand. So I will always, anytime it's on my timeline, I will see sometimes there'll be those fan POVs of people kind of anticipating who's going to come out and losing their minds watching the Hardys come back. So that's a special moment, man. I think our industry is all about moments and making moments for fans, and just knowing still to this day how beloved Jeff and Matt are. My lady is still a massive Hardy fan, a massive Jeff fan. So yeah, man, making those moments for people, being a small part of those moments that people will always remember is something that I treasure.
For sure. You guys came out with a big Booty-O's box. Who came up with Booty-O's?
So that was something that was a little collaborative with all of us. We actually, early, when we first started getting some momentum, around 2015, we saw there was a fan who was holding up a homemade Wheaties sign with us on the cover. And at the time, we were just really into the idea of bringing back a lot of the sayings and euphemisms from when we were younger, like roughneck or man that's booty, you know, instead of saying something's cheeks, man that's so for us, you know, we have a very sophomoric sense of humor. That was something that we thought, you know, could be fun. So at the time we were saying like, no, like we ain't booty. That was something that we started using in the lexicon. So it was interesting because Woods, we were talking about doing a wrestling cereal potentially, or if we were to, what would it be if we were to do like a parody shirt? And Woods went to Kofi separately, he went to me separately, and he asked us both what we thought the name would be, and we just both landed on Booty-O. So it was clear that, you know, that was something that was fitting and felt right for us. And the fact that they not only made the shirt, which so humbling to know that in 2016, we were #1 in merch over The Rock, John Cena, Undertaker, over all the biggest names at WrestleMania that year. We were #1 because of that shirt. They also did this commemorative faux cereal box that the shirt came in, which was really fun. And then eventually actually made a cereal that was sold to FYE. So that was such a fun run for us. We always loved being able to do things that hadn't been done before in wrestling. There's never been like a wrestling cereal. And, you know, we always thought of the wrestling ice cream bars as well. We loved how much, you know, we just loved having things like that were different and unique. So getting to be a part of that was really special.
One moment I thought was one of the most impactful out of all of my time watching you wrestle. The moment when you and Kofi went into the ring, took a knee, and held up the fist. Why was that so important for you guys to be able to represent?
Yeah, so this was right after the murder of George Floyd. And, you know, for a lot of us, I think oftentimes you can be so wrapped up in your career and in life that you feel divorced from what's going on in the world. But this was a time during COVID where there was really no escape. You know, we weren't hopping on planes and doing media like that. You know, I was traveling. I think at the time we were shooting in Orlando, so I was in Tampa at the time. So, you know, for me, it was a short trip down the road, a car ride, and coming back. So I had a lot of time to sit and think. And for me, really, the reason it felt necessary to say something or to do something is to let people know, people who look like us know, like, man, we feel what you feel. Like, this is affecting us the way it's affecting you, that we're not above this just because we're on TV or we have some modicum of fame or money or whatever it is. I think oftentimes people think like, oh, they don't care about us. They don't feel what we feel. They're separated from us. They live in their ivory towers. And so for us, it was just, I believe in fighting for a world where we can all be protected, where we all have a right to work, to live, to be happy, to have families. Like, that's what I want for people of all walks of life, regardless of race, of background, of sexual orientation, man. Life is hard enough, man. We all deal with so much pain and loss and suffering. And so, yeah, that was just for us. A message to black people, to brown people, to marginalized people, to suffering people, that we feel your pain and that we all want to fight for a more just world, a more egalitarian world, and that we can't just sit silently and do nothing. And so I think that's a message that continues, unfortunately, to be poignant and one that we continue to fight for. It's all, for me, it's all about striving for a world where we all feel safe and protected. And yeah, so, you know, for so many people, entertainment is an escape from a lot of life's problems and issues, but we are all in this together. I believe in community. I believe in our connection as a human race, and it's very easy to look at all the things that make us different and divide us. And those are things to be celebrated. They're not things to be mocked or to be ridiculed or to be persecuted for. So yeah, that was an important moment for us to let people know. And I have to give so much love to all of our incredible fans. You know, we had this incredible artist. He's on Instagram as Dorowot, Dorowot. He actually decided to make a painting of that moment. And I ended up reaching out to him. We decided to make shirts, and we were able to, fans just did such an incredible job of buying those shirts. And I think it was almost $20,000 we were able to raise and send off to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And yeah, you know, I think giving back, being a part of our community, being an active part of our community is something that's really important. And in that moment, you know, a lot of people can talk about the toxicity of internet fans, and I think at that moment, it really just showed me how much love there is out there, how much support there is, how many people feel the very same, who are all fighting for a more equal country, a more equal world, and that we all have the right to be protected and to live. So yeah, that was a moment that we felt we had something to say.
That's a lasting, impactful moment, man. Big E, I appreciate you taking the time to sit down. Been a whirlwind, but we got it rocking.
Yes, sir.
Who should I bring? Who in your wheelhouse should come on the show next?
Oh, that is a very good question, man. There's so many really interesting people in this world. You know what? Someone who's not a big name, but I think has a lot of insight. My creative partner, Johnny Davenport. I'm a little biased, but he was one of the most incredible people I know, slept on. So he's designed gear, wrestling gear, for the last decade for me. He's designed for DIY, for Bailey. But the man's incredible. He worked with the Weeknd's team to design a Roblox game. He wrote a movie that I was in, a feature film called F+, starring Randy Couture, Tommy Davidson, Jennifer Esposito. This man has made video games for like Hasbro, Mattel. He does it all. So I know I'm biased, and but you know what? I love meeting people who can just do it all and have so many different things they can do in entertainment. So I think he's a very interesting man. You'll learn a lot about his life. You'll learn a lot about creatives as well. So that's a little tip of the cap for my man, Johnny Davenport.
We'll hit you up, Johnny. Big E, appreciate you, my guy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Right on time.
Beautiful, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you dealing with the chaos. I don't like working this way. I don't like working where it's not. I like letting people know this is the amount of time we have, and I would always love to give you more time.
It's all good.
That, but
I'm starting to do more behind the scenes and show people like what it takes.
Yeah.
If you're really willing to drive 7 hours for potential.
Yeah.
Because like this is what I want to do.
Right.
So I'm just like, hey, I appreciate any time you give me, man.
So you're just here.
Just here for this.
Just here for this.
I may look at the tickets to see if WrestleMania tickets drop. And
Okay.
I may try to go to that.
Yeah.
But if not, no, I'm just gonna head back.
Well, salute to you, man. One, you do an incredible job. You're great at what you do, and like your drive and your work ethic, I think is something that is really, really impressive. So man, I hope things just continue to take off for you. I appreciate you staying on it. I know oftentimes, and like I said, man, it's regrettable.
No, it's
I would always love to say, you know what, let's do an hour and a half. Let's set it up. Let's make it special. But hopefully we can do that the right way. It's just these weeks and these weekends are so hectic and creative, and it's like, I got a text like 10 minutes before I came down here that the pickup was changed, and it's always, everything's in flux. And that's what you learn about entertainment as well, is like you just got to deal with all the chaos that comes with it. But no, I really appreciate you, man. And you do a great job. You got a great look. Yeah, I love how professional. I saw the three camera setup and the lighting. I said, this man doesn't mess around, man. So salute to you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Whoa. Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy.